Lately, I've been getting a flood of questions about gardening for food security. And honestly, I love that people are thinking about resilience. But I want to push back, gently, on one idea that keeps popping up: the survival garden. I don't think you should plant one. Not because growing food is a bad idea, quite the opposite. But because the survival garden mindset sets most people up for disappointment, and it pushes you toward growing the wrong things. Let me explain. 1. A survival garden sets unrealistic expectations. I've been gardening for over a decade. I've expanded slowly, learned from mistakes, and now my garden is over 5,000 square feet, bigger than my house. In 2025, I weighed and logged every single harvest, converted it into servings, and calculated the nutrition. The total? Over 5,000 servings of food. That sounds huge, and in many ways it is. The garden produced plenty of vitamin A and C, a mountain of fiber, nearly a full year's worth of magnesium and potassium for one person, a solid amount of phosphorus. But here's the catch. If you compare that output to the calorie and fat needs of a family of 4, we were nowhere close, not even in the ballpark. And that's with chickens, with oils used in cooking, and with perennial crops like apples, pears, and hazelnuts that aren't even producing yet. So imagine being a brand new gardener and expecting your backyard to feed your entire family. That's a recipe for burnout, frustration, and a very expensive lesson. 2. A survival crop list pushes you toward the wrong foods. Most survival garden lists focus on high-calorie crops, long storage crops, which sounds logical, until you realize those foods are cheap to buy, easy to store, already optimized for global supply chains. Potatoes, winter squash, onions, dry beans, these are fantastic foods, but they're also inexpensive and shelf-stable. You can stock up on them at the store for far less money and effort than it takes to grow them. Meanwhile, the foods that are expensive and highly perishable, berries, salad greens, herbs, are the ones that give you the biggest return on your gardening time and space. So instead of a survival garden, I recommend something much more realistic and far more useful: a food resilience garden. This approach focuses on 1. High-value perishables. These are the foods that cost the most at the store and taste infinitely better fresh. Salad greens, spinach, lettuce, arugula, mustard greens, chard, strawberries, raspberries. 2. Non-meat protein sources. To reduce grocery bills and diversify your diet. Edamame, high protein, expensive to buy. Sugar snap peas, productive, kid-friendly, no shelling. Backyard eggs, if you choose to keep chickens. I cap this category at about 20% of servings because dried beans are so cheap to buy. 3. Colorful, nutrient-dense roots and fruit and crops. These boost calories, antioxidants, and meal variety. Carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, cherry tomatoes, large heirloom slicers. These can be roasted, mashed, pickled, snacked on, or tossed into salads. The garden design, for a family of 4, you'll need roughly 50 feet by 20 feet of full sun space, about 15.5 meters by 5.8 meters. Ideally, the long side runs east-west. I'll walk you through the version with chickens first, then show the alternative for people who can't or don't want to keep them. Fixed elements: chickens, compost, and perennials. The integrated chicken compost structure. To save money, all structures are combined into one build in the northwest corner of the garden. 11 pressure-treated 4x4 posts, a 12 feet by 8 feet footprint, a raised coop, 16 square feet, a covered run, 48 square feet, compost bins flanking the coop, arched cattle panels forming a sheltered run. This setup supports about 5 chickens, giving 2 dozen eggs per week in peak season, 1.5 to 2 dozen per week averaged over the year. The run doubles as a compost accelerator. Toss in weed-free plant material, let the chickens shred it, then fork it into the bins. Perennial berry bed. Next to the coop, a 12 feet by 9 feet raised bed holds 8 raspberry plants. Half the strawberries is ground cover. The rest of the strawberries grow in a gutter garden attached to the coop wall. All berries will need bird netting. No chicken alternative. If chickens aren't an option, replace the coop run with a simple 8 feet by 12 feet strawberry bed. Annual beds. You'll have 3 main annual beds. Bed 1. Sweet potatoes, dedicated bed. Sweet potatoes spread aggressively and require full digging at harvest, so they get their own 170 square feet bed. Bed 2. Arch trellis bed, shade plus sun mix. A center walkway with 16-foot cattle panels creates a tunnel trellis. On the trellis, south end, indeterminate tomatoes. North end, parsley plus cilantro. Middle, spring peas plus fall peas. Under the trellis, shade-tolerant greens planted in waves. Spinach, lettuce, arugula. Edges, spring and fall carrots. Bed 3, full sun mixed crops. This bed holds the flexible, sun-loving crops. Basil on the south end. Edamame along the edges, easy picking. Non-bolting beet greens along the walkway. Chard behind them, beets down the center. Final thoughts. This isn't meant to be a rigid blueprint. It's a framework, a way to think about food resilience that's realistic, affordable, and tailored to what your family actually eats. If you want green beans, add them to the trellis. If you love peppers, swap some edamame for them. If chickens aren't for you, use that space for more berries. The goal is empowerment, not perfection. A garden that supports your food security should also support your joy, your budget, and your sanity.